welcome everybody to the glorious episode of the Signal Caller. I'm your host Dwayne Douglas, along with Solo Lopez, and we are podcasting on beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSPR is my Twitter handle. So check me out there. Solo's back up and running. The light has shined on him again in his house, if you will. It sucks to be without power for a little bit, but
There's power.
there's power. That's power. I have the power. So
They told me to buy a generator. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to conform.
you're not gonna get for him. Okay. hopefully you won't need any. Hopefully you won't need one in the future. So we are, like I said, we're taking a shift. We're talking about the entire NFL, and we're gonna start in the AFC East and talk about the Dolphins here. Kind of go over what they did in their offseason and what we think about them coming up this year. The Dolphins were founded in 1966. Their GM is Chris Greer. Their head coach is Michael McDaniel. Their OC is Frank Smith. Their defensive coordinator is Anthony Weaver. Free agency wise, they went out shopping for a backup quarterback. That was Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is a backup quarterback. Some other notable free agency pickups were going to be James Daniel. Let's see, we got Femi and Afitu Melifonwu. I can never say his first name. I'm not good on names like Solo is. Nick Westbrook. You got Ashton Davis, KJ Britt. Alexander Madison, Farrell Brown, and we got Artie Burns and Willie Gay Jr., the linebacker as well. So their last playoff victory was in 2000 was their last playoff victory.
Long time ago.
A long time ago. So that's them in a nutshell. We can also do. I think we can start with we'll start with their draft real quick. Coming up right here. So the Dolphins first pick of the draft. I think it was the defensive tackle from Michigan. So they definitely had a defensive theme here to help out Anthony Weaver, and they also want to be very. They obviously want to be more physical because they went offensive line and free agency as well. So first of all, let's talk about the draft. I like the direction of the draft because you play the one of the issues they have is they are the lone warm weather team in that division for the most part. They have to go play these cold weather games, and Tua is not great in those games. They gotta figure that out. I think Kenneth Grant is I thought a little bit of an overdraft, but I do like him as a defensive tackle. So they picked him up. They picked up the guard from Arizona, another defensive tackle from Maryland, Jordan Phillips, cornerback Jason Marshall Jr. from Florida, Dante Trader, a safety from Maryland, a guy who I know you like very much, Ollie Gordon, at running back in the 6th round. And then you have Zach Biggers as a defensive tackle from Georgia Tech, and then they picked up Quinn Ewers, quarterback as well. So D line, and more D line for the Miami Dolphins here. How do we probably like their draft?
So I felt that I got into it a little bit with a Dolphins fan about how I didn't necessarily feel like Kenneth Grant was the best pick right there for them at 13. I thought this was a deep enough draft to be able to get it. He explained to me that it's because of the versatility and the one technique of that defensive lineman that they will need because Zach Seiler is there, who's been really good for them the last couple of years. But Zach Seiler played right next to, Christian Wilkins, and they're both type 3 technique type players, right? So I thought it was a little bit of an overdraft, but I get the versatility on a player like that. If you want to use him specifically, as a one technique, or use him as the three tech as well. On that defensive line, they obviously needed defensive line help from what happened last year, so I get it from that perspective. But I just thought they were better overall talented players there. Not everybody has to draft exactly for scheme fit. I think if you can load up on talent, that's the best way to make your team better, regardless of position in that regard. There are obviously extenuating circumstances based on need for certain teams. But Miami didn't need a quarterback. They didn't need a running back. They didn't need skill position players at the wide receiver position. I didn't think Tyler Warren was a good fit for them for that spot. So I understand. I thought they were going to go offensive line first.
Yeah.
But no, I understand the pick. I just thought that there were better players there, even if you're just primarily getting a run stopper. Jonas Savaiinaea is the huge offensive guard. Like that guy's going to be there. I think he's going to start probably day one,
Yeah.
if not very close to it from there. So it looks like they took care of both the trenches that they were looking for. No, they didn't have a third, fourth, or fifth round pick. I don't know if they or third or fourth pick. I don't know what they traded them for in that regard. But Jordan Phillips was not somebody I scouted pretty heavily at that. But I know the defensive tackle is such a it's such a deep position in this year's draft
Yeah.
that anybody's going to have on their board is likely going to have some modicum of talent in that regard. But fifth rounders are kind of here, there, and there. I honestly like my favorite two picks. I thought, which are standouts, obviously, are going to be Ollie Gordon and Quinn Ewers. I think those are like Quinn Ewers, if he has any kind of good decision making ability, he's almost like a right-handed Tua. He doesn't have an overwhelming arm.
Yeah.
He's not going to play well probably in cold weather, but he's going to make quick decisions. He's going to make good. He's going to account for himself in the film room and the study room in that regard. I didn't have a high grade on him coming out. I didn't think he was going to be a top third rounder or anything like that. I thought he was going to fall into the mid rounds. Lo and behold, he fell all the way to the seventh round. And if they can get anything out of quality snaps, backup snaps, anything for him, I think that's going to be a big win for them. And Ollie Gordon, I think only fell to the sixth round because of the nature of how deep the running back draft was. If he had come out 2 years ago, he'd probably be a second round pick based on the season that he had. He's an outstanding running back. I think his contact balance is fantastic. I think he's a solid player at the sixth round. I'm not necessarily sure it works for what they do in their running game, but they did just lose Raheem Mostert. I don't think Ollie Gordon really presents that same skill set that Raheem Mostert does. But you can get a thunder and lightning thing working with him and Devin Achane. So it'll be interesting to see what he does on that depth chart. I thought that was also a good pick for their in the sixth round for them.
Yeah. I mean, I think I see a team that's just trying to get physically tougher.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think there's a moment where things switch for them, and I think if you look at the trajectory of this team and the Denver Broncos, do we remember when the Broncos played at Miami and they put up almost 70 points against them?
Yeah.
Like those two teams, the Dolphins, the now we look at the Dolphins as a descending team, and we look at the Broncos as a ascending team after
Yeah.
that moment. So I mean, good job by Sean Payton to get things going in the right direction there. And then as far as Mike goes, I mean, like he's like they have to win. They have to find a way to win playoff games, and
Yeah.
they have to get there. And is Tua. I don't have a problem with them going out there and signing Tua. You got to get your quarterback and see what happens. But then you have to ask yourself the question: Is Tua the guy? So they went out there and
Yeah.
you mentioned Hewers is a guy who can who's become a right-handed version of him possibly, and then Zach Wilson, who's going to be just a traveling the first round when you're a high first round pick quarterback, you're going to be in the league. I mean, you're going to be in the league for a long time. It just makes it. I mean, like so grabbing him, athletic, can make some throws, but never really kind of could get the NFL version of what he was able to do at BYU.
Although it is like this is why first round picks like that always stay in the league because everybody always has that question mark in the back of the head. Well, what would Zach Wilson look like leading the Miami offense under Mike McDaniel with Tyreek Hill and with Jalen Waddle and Devin Achane and Ollie Gordon now and Westbrook-Ikhine I thought was a really really great sneaky good pickup for them.
Yeah.
I think he's a solid player. He had a career year last year with Tennessee. I thought that was a really sneaky pick for them. Pickup and free agency for them. So, I mean, they have three guys who can catch the ball. Obviously, Tyreek Hill is self-explanatory for what he's able to do in the league. Jalen Waddle's looking for a little bit more of a return to form over the last couple of years when he had that big I think 1,300 yards season the first year Tyreek Hill was there, or whatever it was. Like he had a really good year in there. So you got to like get back to that if you can in that regard. But yeah, I mean, the Zach Wilson thing is interesting because like everybody always says, like, well, you got to get these guys now into a new system. You know, you can't really write them off until they've been to a few different places. Like quarterback, it's about insulating that player as much as you can with talent, with ability, with coaching in that regard. And you start to see the resuscitation of people's careers, i.e., you know, Geno Smith, who's now the Raiders quarterback, or Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay, who's won two playoff games with two different organizations now in that regard, including one with the Browns, which was a road game, or obviously Sam Darnold last year. So you just like people are not going to give up on these guys because they want to insulate these guys with talent and be able to protect their career. Now, obviously, Tua's there, but Tua, I don't feel like I think is a very fragile option at quarterback. One, because he's not shown the ability that he can play through big games and win them, carry the team on his back to win these games consistently, especially in the playoffs. And two, his health is always going to be a concern from here on out. I think. I don't even think that's a hot take to say his health is always going to be a concern with the head injuries that he has sustained over the course of his career at this point. So they did not have a good year last year. They needed a big win. They needed a good offseason. I think they had a pretty decent offseason. I wouldn't say it was like they slammed the door and closed the rank. I'd say that the Patriots have become closer to Miami at this point, and I think Miami has become closer to Buffalo, if that makes sense, with their offseason. So I think it's a big under the pressure, under the microscope type season for Tua and for Mike McDaniel. Because if this doesn't work, and you really, you know, it's not gimmicky, but you were a really good play caller for a certain amount of time, and you could put yourself in position to win some games. But then the rest of it just collapsed on you, and you haven't been able to win games consistently, and especially you haven't been able to win playoff games. And they spent a ton of money on offense, so I think this is a bit of a under the pressure here. This is a bit of a hot seat for both the quarterback and the coach there in Miami. And Chris Greer doesn't seem like he's ever going to be able to be fired, the general manager. So, well, who knows what situation that goes on? That guy's been there for a long time, so and he's made a lot of bad moves. So.
Chris Greer, and Mickey Loomis be chilling, boy. They chilling. They
Yeah,
chilling. They
boy, they
chilling.
love it. They got their organizations on
They are
lock, man.
chilling. They are chilling. They are chilling down south. As far as that goes. Yeah. So I mean, like I really think it's. I mean, I had that point. I forgot real quick. But I just like I said, it's a team that I think they're gonna give Mike every opportunity to just to kind of go through it. If your worst year is gonna be 8 and 9, then they're gonna people are gonna still give you a chance. My thing about him is has the league just said, we got this offense? Like, well, okay, we understand it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like we're not sitting here worrying about it. They I mean I think they only scored a couple more points than the Jets did last year. Looking at
Yeah,
they scored 345 points. The Jets scored 338. So the defense is the defense could be a deciding factor where they get better on defense, get some turnovers, things like that. Then they'll be kind of head in the right direction. Right now, offensively, they are using 21 personnel about 71% of the time. That's two running backs and one tight end. And then you have to worry about the off the field stuff. I mean, what's going on with Mr. Tyreek Hill? I mean,
there's nobody else that gets a bigger leash than Tyreek Hill.
yeah, you know what
So
I'm saying? Like,
no
Tyler,
matter what the
yeah,
story is,
yeah, no matter what the story is, no matter what he does, he's still going to be until somebody is like maybe whatever extreme circumstances, he's going to be there. So we'll see what happens there if he plays. He's doing this whole thing where he hints to being not one to be there. It's like, bro, like you can't even you know, you're getting arrested. You're getting arrested outside the stadium. You got all this weird stuff going on with off the field with family situations. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. Also, Jalen Waddle is a guy who I like as well, but I got to see him stay healthy and get things going in the right direction for him. So for that offense to really take off, they really need both those guys in there. Everything they do is predicated on having Tyreek on the field because when Tyreek's on the
Yeah,
field, then you can get loose with Achan and that whole running game. I mean,
yeah.
there was years where Mostert used to average like 7 yards a carry over there because you can't you gotta play you gotta play too high, and they said, okay, we'll just hand it off and we'll be good to go. So um
Yeah, Jalen Waddle averaged 18 yards per catch in his second year as a Miami Dolphin. That's insane.
that is
Like
insane. That is insane.
1,350 yards, 18 yards a catch, 8 touchdowns. Where's that guy? Where's that offense? Again, they haven't been that since that year in 2022. And it's not a good sign that you play like Tua only played 11 games, right? So he missed 6 games that that he potentially missed. But you still, even in that time frame,
Mhm.
you're still the 22nd best offense in football for scoring the
Yeah.
football. That's not good. That's not good under any circumstances when your entire team is based around the offensive side of the football. When you have an offensive play caller in the Wonder Boy genius and Mike McDaniel and all the money that you have there with
Can
Tyreek Hill and
he?
with Tua.
Yeah. Can he? Is he a one trick pony or can he adjust? I think that's the thing
Yeah,
about the head coach. And then I think John Smith. John Smith was a guy who did some things in his offense last year.
career year, I think.
A career year for him. So we'll see if that can continue because he's a guy, like I said, when you have Tyreek and you have Waddle on the field, I mean you can roam and get some and in these zone defenses and find room to get loose. And he got loose a lot. How many touchdowns did he have last year? Was it like
8.
8 touchdowns?
He
So
led he led Miami in receiving touchdowns.
yeah, so that says it all there. Shout out to Zach Wilson for wearing number 0, quarterback wearing number 0. Shout out to him. They opened the season.
Zach Wilson is?
Zach Wilson's number 1.
I like it. I was wondering when a quarterback would do it.
I actually like it a lot. I actually like
I
it a
like the
lot.
number 0 for
I do like it
quarterback,
a
man.
lot.
I'm telling you, someone a lot better than Zach Wilson is going to come along and wear number
Bro.
0.
And bro, like if you're Quinn Ewers and you're in that quarterback room, you have to be number 2. Like, why can't you? It's 0, 1, and 2. You can't not. You wearing 14. You gotta
Yeah.
read the room, Quinn. Read the room.
Only 4 players caught receiving touchdowns for Miami last year. Johnny Smith, Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle. No other player on the team had a receiving touchdown. That's brutal.
Yeah.
Like that just tells you right there that like there's something wrong with this offense. Like there's something that's not quite working. And a lot of the question surrounds around Tyreek Hill, where he's in games, but is he really in games? Like he comes off the sideline, he misses plays and things like that. Like, are there things that he's dealing with throughout the season that are nagging injuries that these weird things happen during the game when he's just off to the sideline and no report is coming out about it or things like that? Like, I mean, on the paper, it looks like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle played a lot of games, 15 and 17 respectively. But on the field, when you actually watch it, doesn't necessarily seem like it translated really well to them. Granted, Tua was out, but there's some. I just feel like there's something fundamentally wrong here. This might be it for Mike McDaniel if they can't get back to form here. This might be it for them.
The wide receiver position in football is one where everybody feels like they have to rush to pay that guy.
Yeah,
I think you have to sit back and say to yourself, especially when you read, you got to be able to read the tea leaves and be smart. Obviously, I'm not paying somebody a wide receiver who left Pittsburgh for some reason. Just doesn't work. You can see it all the time. And then you have to say to yourself, if I'm going to re-up on a guy, he got to be Justin Jefferson. He got to be Jamar Chase. Like you got to know the person, and like just like kind of look at you can't be blind. You can't do the Al Davis thing and just be blinders to what he did in the past and say, hey, he's a Raider now. He'll get it right. But Al Davis could do that. Like nowadays, it's
shout out Javon Walker.
Javon Walker. A lot of guys you can't do. A lot of guys you can't do that with. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can't. You got to really be careful. Giving them big money. The one thing I will say, Deion Sanders just saying who had that saying. The money just makes you more of who you really are. So I mean, if you are that, then you got to do that. So right now, on the depth chart, they have Kenneth Grant at left defensive end in their 3-4. So that's probably so they probably viewed him as a perfect fit for that. That's why he was a pick. But I still think I mean that's high. That was high. I still think that was high, but hopefully he has a good career for
If
them.
that's where he stays, I'll have to revisit with said Dolphins fan because he's the one
Yeah.
that's saying that he's playing the one technique in the nose tackle for them. And if he's at left defensive end, that's not what that is. So
Yeah, I mean, this the site I'm on really does a great job of it's very accurate of where people play as far as the depth chart goes.
yeah,
And and a shout out to them as well too. The Dolphins for having a cornerback named Storm Duck. I mean, you gotta love that. Jeez, in Miami,
wasn't he their best corner last year?
Storm Duck. You gotta love that one. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Anything else on
Shout out Storm Duck, the rookie last year. I think he played for Oregon, didn't he?
Yeah. So well, I mean, you gotta anywhere there's water, he can't play. He can't play inland.
Oh no, he played for North Carolina and
North Carolina.
Louisville.
Oh, there you go. There you go. The one Louisville
He
guy.
only started 3 games, so he wasn't their best corner last year, but he
Yeah.
only started 3 games.
That's funny. That is funny.
Oh, Jalen Ramsey, I forgot. Duh.
I mean Ramsey.
We're in
Ramsey.
rust brain right now. We're in NFL. We're rusty NFL brain right now.
No, but I do think I didn't talk about Jalen Ramsey at all because I don't think he's going to be a Dolphin.
Yeah,
I don't. I think once June 1st comes, you're going to see a lot of people
I just
being
meant last
cut.
year. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. But yeah. So for 100%, I think he's gonna be a guy you got to look at. Not maybe not being there, but as a Dolphins in a nutshell, off their offseason moves and their draft. As far as that goes, we'll kind of
Give me 2 big question marks you have for Miami going into the season.
the big question mark I have for Miami. Good question. Would be is this offense dead now? You know what I mean? Like, is it dead? Because people are just not going to let you, all the bubble screens, all of those stuff to Tyreek Hill. Like people seem to kind of, can this coach adjust? Like how good is he? How good is
Yeah,
he? Was he really good with the balancing of his mind and Shanahan's mind, and that's why the 49ers did what they did. And I think defensively, like I said, you play, and I'm not sure. I had their schedule pulled up. I just got rid of it, but when they have to go cold, can they compete? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, they no team seems more shell shocked in the league to me, in my opinion. When they play cold weather, than the Dolphins. When the Dolphins have to go
yeah.
play, when you see Dolphins play at Buffalo, at Buffalo or at Pittsburgh they're good teams, but they should still be able to hang around. And they just seem like they're out of it. And Tua is a guy who that ball is like he's a warm weather quarterback.
Yeah.
And that ball flutters. So I think those are two
So they
things.
got Buffalo early, so it might not be that cold in
Where
September.
where
Week 3 in
in
Buffalo.
Buffalo?
The late games that you could see that are going to be problem for them or problematic. Obviously, New England is the last game of the season. That's going to be problematic.
Okay,
Pittsburgh in December, New York Jets in December. So they got 3 different games that
three
could
games right
potentially
there.
be snowing
Yeah.
or really cold at that time. Every other game, it looks like they'll be fine. Washington or the New Orleans is in the dome. Washington might be rainy. Buffalo might be rainy in November, but I don't think it'll be snowing by then. Baltimore might be cold in October. That's week 9. But a lot of their early games are going to be games on the road where you could think it might be snowing. So like Buffalo in September at week 3, Carolina on the 5th. I don't know if it ever snows in Carolina, but I know it rains. Cleveland on the 19th, and then Atlanta's in a dome. So they're going to have at least 3 games that are going to be a little tough.
So
A
so
little
so
tough
so
in the
for
cold.
so for the most part, the most part they have like a little bit of a clean slate here. Like, you know what I mean, as far
In
as
the early part of the
in the early
season,
part of the
yeah.
season, so take advantage of that. So that's the thing. Like how good, like it's a question of how good is Tua, how good is this coach, and can he get something going with this offense going? Because
They got a tough schedule too.
the first game is winnable though. The first game is
Yeah.
you can get off to they can get off to a good start against the
I don't
Colts.
think for those that don't know, Indianapolis is their week one game on the road.
Yeah,
Um, they don't know who their quarterback is going to be right now at this point. I don't think they're probably
exactly.
leaning towards Anthony Richardson, but
You got to think if
he has
you're
not had a great showing in his first 2 years in the league. So
yeah, and you got to think if you're Anthony Weaver, like you're just trying to gear up and do everything you can to get that team active and ready for that week one game
yeah,
that's a game where defensively they should be able to what 19 points or less, 17 points or less in that game, and it
at
should be
least create turnovers against that offense.
especially I mean, well, whether it's Daniel Jones or Anthony
Exactly.
Richardson. So
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah, I feel the names are coming back to me. I can feel the NFL names coming back to me
Yeah, we
now.
got the NFL's coming.
it's
We're
coming, it's
here
coming.
now. We're getting right
Yeah.
back into it.
It's May where
None of one of our basketball teams are in the playoffs anymore.
exactly.
Our baseball season is just beginning.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I got 20 million things going on in my head, but right now, but yeah, so it is what it is. But yeah, so we have that. What's it?